Hey boys and girls, it's Mr. Sunito, and we are going to learn a little bit more today about the analog clock and how to tell time. Now, let's remember, this part of the clock is called the face. You remember that. These are called hands. The short orange one, do you remember what we call that? That's the hour hand. And we've worked with the hour hand before. Today, we're going to learn about the blue hand. The blue hand has a special name. Do you remember what that's called? That's the minute hand. Now, let me take this away. Let me take this away. Now, we know that they're different colors. Do you know that or can you tell if there's anything else that's different about these two hands? Well, do you see that the minute hand is longer than the hour hand? That's how you can tell them apart. You're going to need to remember that because it's going to be very important for telling time. So, minute hand, longer. Hour hand, shorter. Another thing you might want to remember is that the minute hand moves faster around the clock than the hour hand. The hour hand moves slow. The minute hand moves fast. And then there's one last thing I want to teach you before I show you this little brain pop video. Yes, I have a video for you today. Do you notice that there are numbers on the face? 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 12. And then there's some numbers outside the face of the clock, on the outside. Well, the numbers inside tell you the hour, and the numbers outside tell you the minutes. We're going to talk more about that after you watch this Brain Pop video. Ready? Here we go.
Cool! It's field day! How can you tell time to the half hour? There's a lot of fun stuff planned today. What time is it, Moby? When you split something in half, you divide it into 2 equal parts. There are 60 minutes in 1 hour. Since half of 60 is 30, there are 30 minutes in a half hour. So, when the minute hand is on the 6, it's 30 minutes past the hour. Let's see. What time is it now? First look at the hour hand, which is halfway between the 8 and 9. That means it's halfway between 8 and 9 o'clock. Then look at the minute hand, which is pointing to the 6. So, it's 30 minutes past 8, or 8:30. You can write the time using numbers and a colon. What time is the 3-legged race? The hour hand is between the 9 and 10, so it's halfway between 9 and 10 o'clock. The minute hand is pointing to the 6, so it's 30 minutes past the hour. The race is at 9:30. What time is lunch? 12:30. You can also say 12:30, because it's a half hour past 12 o'clock.
Now let's do some practice problems with telling time now that we know a little bit more about the hour hand and the minute hand. And I'm going to give you a little tip to telling time. Are you ready? Okay. Do you see that minute hand on this clock? Which one is it, the short one or the long one? It's the long one. Now, here's the tip. If the minute hand is pointing up to 12, we have 0 minutes. And we write it like that with 2 zeros, just because. If the minute hand, if the minute hand is pointing to the 6 down here, do you know how many minutes that is? Do you remember from the video? That's going to be 30. Okay? So you're going to need to remember those two things as we work through the problems today. Again, 12 means 0 minutes. 6 means 30 minutes. 30 minutes is also a half hour. Now, let's do some problems. So this problem reads, it is 1 o'clock. The hour hand points to the hour hand. What does the hour hand point to, boys and girls? It points to the 1. And now the minute hand points to the, okay, let me erase. Give you a different color here. Here's the minute hand. And the minute hand points to what number? 12. And that's how we do it. Let's take a look at another problem. Ooh, how about this? Boop. Okay. It reads, it is 1:30. Oh, look where that minute hand is now. Look where the hour hand is now. And it says the hour hand points between the blank and the blank. Okay, so it says the hour hand. Let's just look at the hour hand for a minute. And it is in between what two numbers? Well, the hour hand, the shorter hand, is between the 1 and the 2. Then the next sentence reads, the minute hand points to the blank. Okay, let's look at that minute hand for a minute. The minute hand is longer. And what number does it point to? 6. Now, I'm going to make it even trickier because you guys are so smart. Up here, it says an hour has 60 minutes. And we've got these minutes on the outside of the clock. And I showed you that on my orange clock earlier in the video. Those are where we count the minutes. And here they count them by 5. But all you really need to know right here, we can start at 0 and we can count by 5. You're not going to need this for the problems, but just so you know, we go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. and we go back to 0. You could say 60, 55, 60, or you could also call it 0. For today, it's 0. So, boop, and boom, boop, and bop, I guess. And you need to remember 0 minutes, 30 minutes. Now, this clock shows 10 o'clock. I know I drew all over the clock, but if you look at the larger hand, the minute hand, it's on 12. And when it's on 12, we say 0 minutes. And the hour hand, the shorter one, points to 10. And we call that 10 o'clock. And I guess I could have just looked at that clock. Oh well, I made a mistake. Oh well. But this clock also shows minute hand on 12, that means 0, and hour hand on 10, and that means 10, and so we say 10 o'clock. Now the bottom problem shows you something a little bit different. It says a half hour has 30 minutes. That's your half hour. And remember I told you that 30 goes at the bottom? Well, when the minute hand is on the 6, which I just covered up, we're going to write 30. So if you look at this clock here, it shows 10:30. And you'll notice the minute hand is pointing to the 6. And when it points to the 6, what do we write? How many minutes? 30. And the hour, now look here. It's going in this direction. Did it reach 11 yet? No. So we can't put 11, but it's past 10. So we say it would be 10:30 or 30 minutes after 10 o'clock. So much information, I know, but you guys are so smart. I know that you can handle this. So you can go get your math books and come on back, and we are going to be on page 556. Get a pencil, pause the video, come on back, let's do this. Okay, you ready? Here we go. The directions for the problems on page 556 say, write the time. So I'm going to look at problem number 1. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger to make it easier. This is what I do. I look at the hour hand. I look at the minute hand. It doesn't matter what order you do them in. That's up to you. I'm going to look at the hour hand first. Okay. The hour hand, look at that. It's past the 11, but not to the 12. So it's in between. So we write the hour. Put the hour first. The hour always goes first. Then we have to look at the minute hand. The minute hand is longer, and it's pointing at the 6. And I taught you, if it points at the 6, how many minutes is that? 30 minutes. So we're going to write the minutes on this side, 30. And we put the colon right there to keep them separate. So we would say that the hour goes here We put the colon, and then we put the minutes. And do you know how we read that? We call that 11:30. Now, you're going to practice on these problems on page 556 and page 557. There's lots of clocks here. Now, some of them are going to be 30 minutes, and some of them aren't. Remember, at the top, you're going to write 0 minutes, but at the bottom, it's going to be 30 minutes. Then, let's take a look at these two problems. We've got problem 10. I'll read it to you. It says, Sarah goes to the park when both the hour hand and the minute hand point to the 12. Can you imagine a clock where the hour hand and the minute hand both point to the 12? What time does Sarah go to the park? Circle the right answer. And then your last problem for today is the math on the spot problem, and it reads, Mel goes to the park when the hour hand points between the 3 and the 4, and the minute hand points to the 6. So imagine a clock. You could draw one if you wanted to, but it says you have to put the hour hand between the 3 and the 4, and then put the minute hand on the 6, and then the question is, what time does Mel go to the park? Well, you can watch the math on the spot video. I'll put that link up for you, and then circle the right answer, and then stop there. This was a lot to do today, but I'm so excited. I can't wait to see how you do. Be sure to send me a picture of your work in Class Dojo. Have a great day.